We're here at OKONJIMA Nature Reserve. Earlier in the morning, we just darted a leopard. It's called Neo. With me is Dr. Rodenwoldt, and he'll just tell us a little more on what happened exactly.
Quickly this morning, we had to do darting. In other words, leopard, male, one of the bigger ones, and nicely relaxed ones, forming part of a research project.
Yeah.
The collar was near its end. The collar was also a little bit tight. He grew compared to from the last collaring, and so we had to at least remove and replace the collar.
Okay.
So that was it. Now, it was a little bit tricky, dicey compared to last year when the drought was here. There was absolutely no grass, nothing, and you can see all around here it's very high. So took the weight of the animal from the last starting, and that was 70 kilos. So I took it a little bit higher to 75 kilos. From there I worked my weight, which is and the dosage for the anesthetic immobilization agent, and then I had to see what it comes. And when we were presented and looked for him, he was really chilled, he was relaxed, and he came up. Although he might be a little bit on the weary side because it was a different car compared to a normal guide's car. Any obstacle in between my projector and the animal could early release of the drug, so I had to do a little bit higher pressure. But higher pressure means that we have to also aim a little bit lower to get it in. But everything went well. We have to also aim a little bit lower to get it in. But everything went well. And
Cutting you in the middle there, do you have a specific part of the animal that you usually aim for, or do you just shoot anywhere?
No, I was actually aiming for the shoulder area.
Shoulders.
Behind the mound. There I've got a nice muscle, and I was trying to aim for a nice intramuscular to get a very quick, hopefully quick, working action to let him go down. It didn't actually bother him too much, and he stayed with us quite a long time, which was actually quite good, because if he laid down in the grass, it would have been a struggle to get him. But yes, we found him very quickly. He was not far from the car, quite well. We then cleaned up, put him on the car, and we drove out into a slightly more open area and worked through what we had to do and put him back. And after 52 minutes, I had to, or could give the antidote against one of the medicines that I've given in the cocktail drug, and 2 minutes later he was sitting already sternly, and about 13 minutes later he was standing, so I was actually quite happy.
Let's say when you have an animal on the table, what are the risks that you are afraid of, that could actually end the animal's life? Or is it maybe overdosing it can be, or maybe that it's not in good health? Is there something that you do?
Right, I think it's very seldom, but yes, it happened also in the past that we had to dart because of a fight or whatever, and then we bring it in. I think it's once they are anesthetized, they're on the table, then it is a patient like normal. You learn and how to do it, but the risks are always spontaneous arousal, spontaneous wake-up. So you have to monitor, and if you work on your own, well, then it's a multitask type of observation, anesthesia, heart monitor. Fortunately, our team is worked in so closely that one is always monitoring and observing the motions of it. Yes, anesthesia can be a hell of a risk. It can be fatal, yes. So I interlink also as one of my duties quite closely with the researchers in their different projects. That's pangolin, that is a leopard, and that's brown hyena and aardvark. So again, in quite a lot of cases you will have a type of veterinary input, which is a huge challenge, different species. That's also part of my duties. Your post recovery stage will be a huge challenge, so we've got several type of enclosures that we can choose, but we do not want to get them habituated to humans as such, so we keep them in the veld, and then we look and we do whatever we can via oral medication or even darting. When releasing the animal, there I'm looking for nice balancing, that he's nice awake, that he's moving around quite well.
Yeah.
And yes, he jumped off the car. Is it right to let him jump off or not? Yes, I like it so that I can at least visualize him, because he goes back into nature. He balanced during take-off, landing, everything was really nice. So I'm happy with that. Why we do it, as I said, it's the collar was a little bit tight because he grew 4 kilos more. And then the collar, the battery was also at the end of its lifespan, so we had to replace it.
With the new one that we have fitted on now, how long would it take before it needs replacement again?
It should be about 2 years.
2 years.
2 years,
It's quite a long lifespan it has.
And yeah, he's part of our research group to try and see within a territorial impermeable periphery around the park what is his area, spatial area movement as such. Yeah, so every time the guides see him, they've got an app where they locate the GPS coordinates, and they will be locked in, and from there the area will be locked.
Okay. You've mentioned that OKONJIMA is actually enclosed. Is there any problems with inbreeding with these leopards being enclosed? Is there some that are coming from other places to control that the natural way, or?
In theory,
Yeah.
the periphery should be impermeable for carnivores.
Okay.
Now we've set a couple of camera traps outside to see is there any movement from cats outside to inside. Yes, there is.
Okay.
Have we located the spots? No. That's where, again, the cameras are out so that we can see. And we've got a third type of collar where we have GPS points, and they are minuted every 10 minutes. So if it should ever happen that they move out, that we can see. Number one, actually we don't mind, because that is, to answer your question, to bring in more genetic material. Of those that are non-collared, some of them come from the outside, some of them stay inside, or they go out. There is a movement. We do not know where. We really try and make it impermeable.
Yeah.
But again, for me, nature is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, conservation comes in, that there's always a way to get around.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Oh yes, it does. I understand you are actually the resident vet at OKONJIMA. Apart from that, is there any other conservation work you do outside OKONJIMA Nature Reserve? And why do you actually engage so much of your time into conservation?
Okay, number one, for quite a couple of years I was working in a private practice, domesticated animals, and I just thought I need a break and to do something. I love outdoor camping, outdoor living, and I just felt that part of my life must also be conservation orientated.
Okay.
Now, conservation orientated can be quite a variety of things, and when the post came up here, yes, that's when I took it up. My interest here is also the parasitic load, wider vision of endoparasites, that's worms, to try and see what is the worm load specifically in enclosed areas like OKONJIMA. But now if you go out into the conservancies, there you get wildlife combined with communal farming. Is there a relationship between game and cattle production? Alternatively, go into the commercial areas where the game can also migrate. Is there a really different worm burden in enclosed areas where you do not have any migrating type of wildlife compared to the open parts? And with that, I engaged with UNAM, and UNAM again with another university overseas, and we try as pre-graduate small little research projects which are necessary for those students to come in. But again, with the students, yes, they do their projects and they see it, but also to try and get those students understand that wildlife has got a certain value. Whether it's now tourism, whether it's now for commercial purpose, whether it is now generally to get tourism into the country and also to make wildlife known as part of the wider agricultural part and not only be something exotic, something really special. It must be something. So that is where the idea also was to get all veterinary students involved with it. And unfortunately now with the drought, with the COVID, that had come hopefully only to a temporary standstill. But those are the things that I'm trying to work, that I'm interested in it, and that is what keeps me on. The lessons, what I've learned is, even if I communicate with tourists coming up, they are so inquisitive, and some of them have got a total different vision. If they sit in front of a TV and see something, everything runs very, very smoothly, but you cannot dictate nature. And even today, I've seen it again. Every time you learn something different, and this is again what I want to try and bring across to those students. If there's no grass, if there's no water, none of these animals will work. So they must actually see it holistically, that wildlife is part of it, and it's part of the nature that stays in, one should stay in nature, combined with production animals, with cattle, with horses, with goats, sheep, and then the different challenges that they've got, human-wildlife conflict as such. So all that comes together.
So basically everything in nature needs each other to survive.
Yeah.
Whether it's now the grass that is around here, it's needed by antelopes. I mean, the antelopes are needed by the cats and so forth. So it's basically nature in a broader perspective that you actually...
I hope I can convey that message.
All right. Thank you very much. And we will be back with you again in the next episode.